Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I'm starting earlier than advertised, so that may may affect whether people are able to come into the stream. I appreciate that, but I was able to come on earlier, so I thought I would. So let's just see if anybody is available. So if you've just joined, please say hello. A few people have just come into the stream. Please say hi. Let me know whereabouts in the world you're from. My streaming software is looking a bit different to normal. I don't know whether there's been an update or something, so I'm just having a little look at that if it feels like I'm a bit quiet. I'm just figuring out the differences. But hopefully it gives people opportunity to come to the stream. Like I said, I'm here earlier than I promoted I would be, so we will see if anybody is free to come in. If not, that's fine. I'm going to stick around, into the time I said I would be. But if anybody is here, it'd be great to see how you're doing. Let me know in the comments whereabouts in the world you're from. Say hi. Tell me if you've been in a stream before. All of that good stuff. I've had a few people come in and out already, but nobody yet has been brave enough to say hello. It's always interesting for me as well to find out how long you've been, whether it's a subscriber or a viewer of my channel. Always interesting to know how long you've known about my channel and how you kind of got to it, how you found it. It's always interesting. And we have our first person in here, VMI Football. Hey Vincent, Terence from USA here. Terence. So I just need to double check. Are you Terence who I've spoke with on audio coaching? Because I spoke with a Terence in audio coaching a few months ago. Is this you, Terence, or is this a different Terence? We spoke before a few times this year, but this is the first time catching you in a live like this. I'm surviving here. Terence, if it's you that I'm thinking of, I don't know if you know, but wait, let me just double check this, because I'm pretty sure in 2025 I only spoke to one person called Terence. So I just want to... I'm convinced it must be yourself, so I don't mind saying this. You do realise we still have another call. You've still got another call to book. It's funny to catch you on a live to be able to let you know that. I'm not sure if you knew that or if you lost track. We've still got our our fourth call, whenever you want to arrange it. So it's good to be able to speak with you like this. If I hadn't heard from you, I was going to probably send you an email maybe in January time or something, just to give you a reminder. Yeah, you're the only Terence I've spoke to in 2025 on audio coaching, so I thought it was probably you. But yeah, I'm the one. Yeah, yeah, you're the only Terence that I've spoke to this year on audio coaching. But yeah, so you do have another call, so if and when you're ready to book it, let me know your availability, in an email, and then I'll try and match with you. But yeah, it saved me having to email you and remind you. But yes, you do have another call. Everybody else who's popped in the stream, please say hi. Great to have you all in here today. It's good to hear, by the way, Terence, but you say, you're surviving, as you've put it. I'm hoping that you're okay. Don't be shy, everyone. We've just had an influx of people popping in. Please say hello. Let me know whereabouts in the world you're from. What's going off in everybody's world? What do you have planned? Are you looking forward to Christmas? It's only a few weeks away. Obviously, Christmas, New Year's Eve, everything else is coming up soon. So Terence has said, would love to set it up again soon. I got very distracted with the death of my father and all that. That's so sad to hear, and very, very tragic. So sorry. But I had been wanting to set something back up with you lately. We'll email you soon. Yeah, please do, Terence. Just send me an email when you're ready. Ideally, the more notice, the better. So whenever you get a chance to email me, if you're able to let me know your availability, maybe the following week, and I'm sure we'll be able to, match up. As I was saying, it's nearly Christmas and New Year, busy time of year for everyone. So, whether you get something across to me this year or early next, yeah, please do. And for those of you who've just joined the stream, again, please say hi. Terence is kind of carrying the stream on his back. It's as if he's the only one in here, and he's not. Don't be shy, everyone. You've only got usernames. Nobody knows who you are. You've found my channel. Unfortunately, the majority of people find my channel due to difficulties and sadness. So, I appreciate you're perhaps in this stream now, going through a difficult time. But, you can share your thoughts. As I said, it's just usernames. Nobody knows who you are. Release that emotion. It can be helpful. It can be a great way to get some feedback, perhaps. And these streams are only as good as the questions, ultimately. We've had some brilliant streams in the past. Lots of people involved speaking about their situations, and then some streams where it's been very quiet, and obviously there's kind of less to bounce off in that way. It's great to have bumped into Terence, though. That has been a brilliant thing that's happened in the stream, but I didn't necessarily expect. Also, a lot of people come to my channel due to breakups. But just to let you know, I'm not just a breakup coach, I'm a life coach. So that means I help people navigate the whole spectrum of life, whether this is a work-related problem, motivation, accountability, addiction. Also, the more positive aspects. Maybe you're single, but you're ready to get back out there. Dating coaching, online dating support, all of those things, they come under life coaching. Most people obviously find me due to breakups, but there's going to come a point where it's beyond the breakup. Are you getting your ex back? Whether you are or you aren't, you're going to need to become that version 2.0 of yourself. Because if you don't reach those heights, then you're not going to be able to achieve your goals. It doesn't matter if you want your ex back or to find someone even better. If you don't reach your best self, then you're not going to attract the best possible people into your life. Terence has said, I hadn't expected to catch you either. No, very, very random. I clicked on you while getting ready for work. I'll try and think of a question for you. Thanks, Terence. Yes, you're carrying the stream on your back. The weight of everybody else, the weight of it is on you. We've got more and more people popping in. Again, please say hi. Let me know whereabouts in the world you're from. Don't be shy. Release your emotion. Get it off your chest. A problem shared is a problem halved. I did a community post yesterday. Was it the day before? 1 or 2 days ago. Asking for people to share their breakup problems. And I'm going to be doing some podcasts in the coming week or so, which are going to connect to those questions, but are also going to be more broad to try and help other people as well. But if you've got that question about an ex, strategies to try to get them back, or you want to help through breakup recovery, maybe you just need that motivation, or whatever it is, this is what my channel's about. This is why I've always tried to make this the most positive community online. I do believe that sadly, a lot of other breakup communities have become negative echo chambers. I've also sadly heard a lot of people telling me that they've had bad advice from AI, which is, a newer phenomenon. Obviously in the last few years that's become bigger, and sadly the amount of bad advice that some of these platforms seems to be giving out is quite alarming. I've had a few people contact me trying to undo errors where in which they've basically followed a specific AI, and unfortunately that's tripped them up. But anyway, let's get back to the questions, because Lee is in here. Great to hear from you, Lee. So Leah said, hi Vincent, I've listened to a lot of your YouTube clips. My ex left over a year ago. He monkey branched after being mate poached, and they had a 7-month affair. I found out, and the rest is history. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. I said Lee because I was just saying the first few letters, but I'm not sure actually where it's Lisa, so I do apologise. It's really, really difficult when you're looking back. So, let's go through your situation again. My ex left over a year ago, so it's been a good chunk of time now. He monkey branched after being mate poached, and they had a 7-month affair. I found out the rest is history. So, do you mind me asking, well, first, is it Lee? Is it Lisa? How do you want me to refer to you? But also, is your ex still with that person? Are they still with that person now? Or has that broke up as well? I'm really glad I started the stream early now. Originally, I was promoting this to start, well, it wasn't even due to start for another 20 minutes. But I came on earlier because I could, and it's great, to have caught a few of you guys and girls, that you've got on here. And who knows, maybe I would have missed you all if I hadn't have come on earlier. So I'm really happy that I've done that. But 2 people so far sharing into a chat. Everybody else, don't be shy. There's nothing to be nervous about, nothing to be scared. Just share your thoughts and feelings. Release your emotion. And as I said, I try to put out there the most positive breakup community that there is out online. So hopefully you can gain something from it as well. For those of you who do seem too shy to actually get involved in the conversation too much, would you feel comfortable just saying something else? Even if it's just saying what the time is where you are in the world, or anything just to break into the chat, break the ice. Okay, brilliant. We've got Grumpy Dog. I am from Germany. Nice to meet you. Great to have you in here, Grumpy Dog. Lovely to have you in here. I don't think I've seen you in one of my streams before, so really nice to have you in here. How are you, Grumpy Dog? And what is your situation? So we had Terence in here. I don't know if Terence still is. Lee or Lisa. I haven't heard back, so I'm not sure if they are still in the chat. And Grumpy Dog. Anybody else who wants to say hi, please feel free to do so. And feel free to ask your breakup questions. Or life coaching questions in general. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I was looking at the analytics recently, and only 17% of my audience is subscribed. So that means you don't get notified necessarily with the upload. So, if you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. So Grumpy Dog has said, my ex broke up 1.5 years ago. Since 1 year of no contact, but she is still keeping contact to my mom and tells her about her rebound that they moved in together. Why is she telling those things? It's interesting that you've asked that question. I've had somewhat similar questions before. Certainly I can think of one person that I was doing audio coaching with. So I spoke to them more regularly, one-on-one. And in that particular instance, when the ex was still contacting the mother, it seemed to be that eventually they was really starting to try to find out information about their ex. So in your situation, it would theoretically be that your ex at some stage would want to kind of go through your mum to find out information about yourself. Now, I'm not saying that is the case in your scenario, but it might be. It's a difficult situation, especially when she is explaining about what they have done, regarding her and the rebound. Sometimes, though, it is because they feel that connection to the mother and almost want to keep that bond, which for you is in no way beneficial. It's very hurtful to find that out. And, it's a balancing act between whether you want to kind of keep that going on the possibility that she does start to ask questions about you, and you never know how things could go from there. Or alternatively, if you feel at a certain point that you need to ask your mum to say, hey, I would feel more comfortable if you start to take a step back from this, because I'm now feeling uncomfortable. Only you can decide upon that. When I was speaking to my audio coaching client, it was, similar conversations we had, trying to decide upon the best options. So, sometimes these things play out in the long term, and it looks like this could be the case here, where the outcome isn't going to be known. We're already 1.5 years in, or since the breakup, shall we say. I'm hoping to upload a podcast tomorrow. I haven't done ones regularly on Sunday for quite some time, but hopefully there will be one tomorrow. I appreciate that Christmas time is often more difficult for lots of people, and therefore, I want to try and support people as much as I can, in that kind of way. So if you ever feel, that you need that support, come to the channel. Watch the videos, listen to the podcasts. If you've got a question, type it in a comment, or feel free to send me an email, vincent@dateme.tips. Okay, so we are now... I'll use your username again, just in case you didn't want me to be saying your first name out there. So, VMI Football has said, maybe not a direct question, but I often find myself in disbelief, having watched my own anxious ex seemingly grow a hugely inflated ego during the breakup. I'd never seen her to be that sort of person. Can you expand on that? How do they change so suddenly like that? How can we manage that back down from our own side? It is really frightening when we think and we ask ourselves the question, did I really know this person? I'm with this person and they behave in this way, and now they are single and they're behaving in another way. In this regard, they're acting with a hugely inflated ego. And often it's almost as if, like a sink or swim mentality, they've now become single, whether it is their choice or not. And it's like sink or swim. They're kind of flapping around, trying to find their way, often kind of faking it until they make it, trying to make out they're okay. And they can be some of the reasons, especially why a dumper might seem very different. They're trying to find their way in the world as a single person. But it can be really, really galling. It can be like, what on earth? Like, I can't believe that you're acting this way. Did I ever know you? Was our relationship real? Did you ever love me? Was anything you said accurate or true. Those are the things which worry us. And it can come out of nowhere. It can happen. And the good news, as I would say, is that often, obviously people can change. But often you will find people come back to be a little bit more as you remember them. Especially with the coldness. People will say, well, my ex looked at me with frozen eyes, very cold eyes, ice cold. And yet they can warm up again. It's definitely possible. And, that is a big fear that lots of dumpies have. My ex does not seem to be the person that was with me. Why is this? Why do they look through me? What is this cold, hard stare about? All of those things can be terrible to experience. And I would say, it's the shock of the breakup. Shocks people into acting in ways which might not be really truly them. Or they're trying to behave in different ways. All of those things are possible. Obviously, when we speak on our call, VMI football, we can really delve into the specifics of how you're feeling on that. Don't forget to arrange the call. A grumpy dog has said, last time I tried to contact her, she was cold and distant. 8 months later, I posted a picture from Paris with a new girl. 2 days later, she started contacting my mum since 6 months of silence. I mean, now you've added that bit of context, it seems even more likely that she perhaps is wanting to gain information about yourself. I don't know if you've ever considered my audio coaching service Grumpy, but that's where, again, we can really delve in deep to what is going on and trying to figure out a strategy or a way forward for how you want to proceed with this. Whether you want to possibly one day reconnect or not. Now, obviously right now, she's with someone else. It's not going to be something that happens in the short term. It might never happen. But you need to put yourself in the best possible position. Even if you don't get her back, you then place yourself in a better position to find someone even better. Nono is here. Hi, Nono. Hello. Great to have you in here. Whereabouts in the world are you from, and how are you feeling? Nono has said, I'm from Florida. 6 months post-breakup after 5 years. It was my birthday the other day. Been kind of bummed. Okay, I'm so sorry to hear that, Nono. It's obviously going to be really hurting with your birthday the other day. 5-year relationship, 6 months post-breakup. I don't know anything about your situation, but let's try and put the first positive spin on this. First positive spin is that you are now entering what would be deemed as the average amount of time that a dumper may contact a dumpee. The 6 to 12 month period. So you're entering kind of that golden period to try and navigate. Do you mind me asking how old both of you are? You were together 5 years, but how old are you both at this point? But another person say hi. Great to have so many people popping in. I'm going to struggle with this pronunciation. I'm going to say Shin. It's probably wrong, but I'll say Shin. Are you telling people to wait for their ex's new relationship to end so they can potentially swoop in a few years' time, laugh out loud? Are you telling people to wait? I would never tell people to wait. No, absolutely not. But you must be new to my channel, so welcome. No, everything I promote is focusing on you rather than your ex. You need to put yourself in the best possible position to either get an ex back or to find someone even better. So am I telling people to wait for their ex's new relationship to end so they can potentially swoop in? I'm never going to tell people to wait. What I'm going to suggest is you get yourself in the best position possible. Now that includes, ironically enough, going on dates with other people through something referred to as social proofing. So it might transpire that never happens. But if there is somebody in a relationship with someone new and you do wish to try and get them back, it's not about waiting for them, but it's about making sure you're in that best position. Because if you're not in that best position and they become available, well, you're going to miss that opportunity. But no, absolutely not. Please never ever wait for an ex. You have to live your life. Noah said, he's about to be 33 and I just turned 35. So, from what you've said there, you're not in what I would refer to as the flitty period of your life. A flitty period, and that is an English term. Flitty meaning kind of you're here, you're there, you're everywhere like that. That is people in their very early 20s. When people are in their very early 20s, they tend to still be trying to find out what they're doing in their life regarding education, work, their life in general. All of those things are going to be playing out predominantly in your early 20s. Of course, they can happen later as well. But if we find out a breakup is taken for people in their early 20s, then often what you will find is the other person will need to go and almost, go on their own path, perhaps a little longer, to really find out who they are as a person. Now, you two are in your 30s, so that, it's still possible, but it's less likely. I don't think we will get back together. Too many things were bad. I wanted to make it work, but too much resentment and family issues arises over time. I also wanted to get married and have kids, and he just led me on. Well, that is terrible. You should never have somebody leading you on, and you should always consider what your deal breaker life goals are. And you wanting to have kids and him not is an absolute deal breaker life goal. Okay? So what I would say to you, you've just said, I don't think we will get back together. I don't want you to get back together. And you might not like me saying that, I don't know. But if you want to have kids and he doesn't, or at least he's led you on to this point, please don't even consider reconnecting. Because you will regret it forever if you reconnect and he leads you on further and you never get to have kids. You will regret that forever. So if I could give you one piece of advice here, Nono, it's let's not even have that as the goal. That should not be the goal. I know you've said I don't think we will get back together, but let's not have that as even the focus. What I would suggest is moving through breakup recovery and then getting to the stage of where you can find someone even better. That is what I would suggest for you, Nono, at this time. For everybody in here, as I said earlier on, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do. If you haven't subscribed, you're not going to be notified of every upload and whatnot. And I'm trying to build this really positive, healthy community. So please be part of it. And we can hopefully lift you to levels that you didn't feel previously. Grumpy said, I didn't interpret it as an advice to wait for my ex. Don't worry. Just want to know if she is doing this to hurt me in the aftermath. Thank you, Grumpy. Yeah, I did not mean for you to wait. Is she doing this to hurt you in the aftermath? I doubt very much she is aiming to hurt you. I doubt very much it is her focus and goal to hurt you. I think this is autopilot. This is her behaving in a way where she is almost just doing without thinking. And like I said previously, the two main reasons would be either she has a relationship with your mother that she just doesn't really want to let go, which is selfish. But now you've told me the additional information that this came off the back of you being, I think you said, photographed with another girl. There could easily be some level of wonder, insecurity, curiosity, and she's trying to find out information via your mum. So I don't think she's trying to hurt you, but whether or not it is healthy for you, I mean, that is a totally different argument. I would suggest that the girl that you were photographed with, she is going to be a much better option currently to be focusing your time. I mean, what happened with that woman? Nono has said, I agree so much, thank you. It still hurts even when you know it's right. Well, Nono, as I've said with everybody in today's live stream, if you feel audio coaching could help you, that's where I speak with people one-on-one. In fact, I don't know if Terence is still in the stream. He was earlier today. He's doing audio coaching with me right now. We've still got a call to arrange. So if he is in here, he can tell you a bit about it. I don't know if he is or he isn't, but that is where we can really delve in deep to the situation. Audio coaching is not just about trying to get an ex back, although that can be the focus, but helping people through breakup recovery. It's probably one of the main reasons people contact me. But then there's the whole life coaching aspect, trying to become that version 2.0, trying to find that motivation. The fact we're in December, we're moving into January, we need to hit the ground running. We need to make 2026 the best year of our lives. It can happen, but it starts today. It doesn't start in January. We've got to get those rocket boosters on now to push ourselves forward. That's how it happens. And, some people don't even speak to me about the breakups. They want a motivational partner. They want an accountability partner. They want a teammate. So, I try to make my channel broader than just breakups. But, I have to listen to what the community wants within the initial content. And that is what I'm requested time and time again. So I focus on the breakup content, but I am a life coach. So it doesn't just have to be, okay, this is how you get your ex back. No, it's much broader than that. Great to have so many new people come into the stream. Please say hi. Let me know whereabouts in the world you're from. We are going to make this the greatest breakup life coaching community online. I do feel that it's become a negative echo chamber in many of the other communities. That's not going to be the case here. So if you like positivity, if you want forward thinking, if you want to kind of remove all of the nonsense, then this is the place I'm trying to make this to be. And I think this is what my channel used to be back when I could stream a lot more often. In recent years, I've not been able to. But I would, we've all got New Year's resolutions. We've all got challenges and goals. My goal is to live stream and to be part of a community more often. Nono has said, awesome, I would like more information. Should I just email you? Yeah, absolutely. Some people have told me my website is, I try to put a lot of detail into my website, but sometimes it's just easier. Send me an email, okay, and we can just discuss things through there. But something to add, might sound kind of obvious nowadays, but please check your spam and junk. So if you've sent me an email and you're thinking, well, I sent him an email 24 hours ago, I've not got anything back, check your spam and junk. I will reply to you. But my emails apparently sometimes, sadly, do go there. So please check your spam and junk. My email address is vincent@dateme.tips. Nono said, I have to take a nap today. Was emotionally exhausting for me. Thank you. You have a great evening. I will email you. Have a nap, Nono. Send me an email. And, I'm sure we can work something out to try and help you. Because your path is clear for me. This isn't about your ex. This is about becoming the best version of yourself, going through breakup recovery, and living a fantastic 2026. You can do this. You will do this. I believe in you. So I'll look out for your email. Now, who else do we have still in the stream? Grumpy? Are you still in here, Grumpy Dog? And it's the same with yourself, actually, Grumpy. If you feel that having a conversation could help try and decipher all of this, send me an email. Vincent@dateme.tips. Nono said thank you. Well, thank you, Nono. Thank you for being part of the community. Let's make this a positive place. So a few new people have come into the live stream. Thank you for joining us today, but please say hello. I think Nono has now gone to have her nap. I'm not sure if Grumpy is still in here, or Terence, who was speaking earlier on. So we're going to need some new people to say hi. Tell me about your situation. Feel free to ask your questions. Okay, SF is in here. Hi, SF. What to do when a fearful avoidant has blocked me, and I'm not sure whether to hold on or just let go. Okay, so no cheating, nothing awful, very sudden breakup. Okay, so in this regard, let's focus on the basics. Let's strip it back down to the basics. Let's remove the attachment style even. Let's look at the basics. You have been blocked by an ex. I'm guessing it's an ex, okay? You've been blocked by an ex. What to do? Your options you suggested was either hold on or just let go. I'm suggesting a third option. The third option is move forward. So your options were holding on, which I'm guessing you meant to almost kind of focus on this person and maybe even try and find a way to cheat the blocking. Really focus on that person. Or the alternative was just to let go and as if you could just kind of move on with your life. I'm suggesting the in-between option, which is what I refer to as moving forward. Moving forward is when you're not focusing on your ex. You're not concentrating on them. You're not focusing on them. This is not about them. You're living your life to the full. But you are also leaving the door open. So what that means is you're not blocking them back. What that means is if you do hear something, you're not going to be negative. What this means is you are focusing on you are moving forward, but you are leaving the door ajar. The door is open. And I believe, SF, that is the premium best option for you. That's what I would be suggesting. Do you mind telling me a bit more about your situation? For instance, how old you both are and how long your relationship was, or maybe even why you were blocked. I mean, you can tell me in an email if you would prefer it to be more private. More and more people coming in the stream. You know what? I'm so glad I've done it today. I wasn't sure how a Saturday would be, because Saturdays, okay, a lot of people might have it as a day off, but a lot of people have got things going on. So I wasn't too sure how it would be. Okay, SF has said, I'm 29, she's 27, fearful, avoidant, and I'm anxious. So I think it just got too much for her. It can. You know, it can get too much. You know, there is something called the anxious avoidant trap, where the anxious person is concerned that the avoidant person is not being close enough for their liking, so they push more. And then when they push more, the avoidant person gets more scared and becomes even further away, runs off further. What happens then? The anxious person becomes even more terrified, and it goes round and round and round like a negative loop cycle, which is why it is called the anxious avoidant trap. I've actually got a podcast on it that possibly could help. Grumpy said, yes, I'm still here. Though I still would like to be with her, I accepted the fact that she's with someone else, but I am still hooked by the fact that she's contacted my mum every few months. It's really good that you have accepted that she's with someone else. You must accept the situation and focus on what is ahead of you. Now, being hooked on the fact that your mum is being contacted would suggest that you might need to go down the path of asking your mum to politely but respectfully start to reduce that contact. But again, you know, I'm speaking in a somewhat generalized way here because obviously I'm just reading your comments. If you want detailed advice, you know, we would have to do that through audio coaching, because I don't want to tell you to tell your mum to tell her to stop contacting when I don't know all of the intricacies, because this is your life and I don't want to be cutting off that possibility of, as I said earlier, that, you know, she has contacted your mum due to, on the back of seeing you with another girl. There is likely a connection there. So there is a lot to delve into, is my point. SF has said, she opted to block, I'm assuming either to get space and come back or stay away permanently. But I'm stuck thinking about her, to be honest. Together for 2 years, but very close that whole time. Very misleading on her part for the duration. Wanted closeness, wanted affection. Then said it was all too much. It's classic anxious avoidant trap situation here from what I can see. Now, what I would suggest you need to do, and whether this is with me or with someone else or somebody local in person, whatever you decide to do, you need some support with your anxious attachment style. You need to work through that. I do that through my audio coaching service. If you don't want to speak with me, that's fine, but you need to speak to someone. So whether it's me, whether it's someone else, whether it's someone in person near where you live, whatever it is, and whoever it is, you need to work through this, because if you don't, then even if you meet someone else, unfortunately, this cycle is going to repeat. Because your anxiety is going to be spiked even further due to what's happened with this person. So the next person, if it is a next person and not her, you're likely to be even more anxious. So my advice to you, New Year's resolution, you need to work through your anxious attachment style. Dane is here. Hi, Dane. Hello. We were together 6 years and she monkey branched to a co-worker after 2 months. Dane, you're the person who did the comment. If you didn't, Dane, then this is almost identical. Can you confirm, Dane? Are you the person who left the comment on my community tab? Because if you are, I actually recorded the pod. Yes, it's me. Right. Dane, tomorrow there is a podcast being uploaded and it is about your situation. I said I was going to be doing podcasts on those comments. Yours is the first one I've done. Okay? I've actually done it. So if you're able to hold tight tomorrow, you will hear my thoughts on that situation. SF has said, thanks mate, I'm working a lot on it and only just recently discovered all these attachment styles. All my previous relationships have played a part in it and it makes so much sense now. Absolutely. You know, and like I said, I work through with this with people through my audio coaching service, which is in essence like a phone call. It doesn't matter whether you decide to go with me or with someone else, but please get this worked through, because if you don't, I promise you, your next relationship, whether it's with your ex, could be, or whether it's with someone new, it is likely going to end the same way. I unfortunately have seen this time and time and time again. It needs to be your New Year's resolution, SF, okay? It needs to be. So have a think. If you want to speak with me about it, send me an email, vincent@dateme.tips. So anybody in here who wants to send me an email, vincent@dateme.tips. I will get back to you within 24 hours. And if you haven't received an email back for whatever reason, please check your spam and junk, okay? Because I would have replied. VMI Football has, I'll say your username again in case you want me to do that. I can say that I felt great relief when I spoke to Vincent on calls. Okay, so thank you so much. You know, it's all right me kind of speaking about my audio coaching, but VMI Football, we're doing audio coaching now. We've spoke 3 times already. We have a 4th call to arrange. So, you know, VMI knows exactly what it's like because, you know, we're doing it. He says, I can say that I felt great relief when I spoke to Vincent on calls. He's got an empowering and empathetic way of communicating that I felt much better after. Better than any psychiatrist. Wow. That is an endorsement. Thank you very much, very VMI Football. I truly appreciate that. That's very kind of you to do that, and it makes me feel good that that's how you felt. I have actually had people say to me that they had a therapist that they stopped speaking to because they preferred speaking to me, as they believed I think they said I was more more real, in regards of some therapists come across as a bit cold. You know, maybe they're not really listening to what you're saying. They're just kind of going like, you know the stereotype. I like to believe I bring some warmth to it, and VMI Football has very kindly said his experience, so thank you. Dane has said thank you in regards to the podcast that's being uploaded tomorrow, which is in reference to his comment. SF has said, do you have any good tips for trying to stop thinking about her and or her getting with someone else? Haunting me a fair bit. Appreciate your advice and I'll take it on definitely. Yeah, I've had poor experience with therapy too from childhood things. Please get in touch, SF, through email, honestly, and we can figure something out for you on this to try and work through your attachment style. I do have a lot of tips, I would like to think, for how to try and stop thinking, of an ex, especially with someone else. There are many different tips, but I try to kind of put them to the person specifically on their personality. There are some broad tips, but I don't believe it's one size fits all. So I'd feel more comfortable suggesting things to you if we were speaking one-on-one. But if I was just going to say, a generalized piece of advice for anybody, when you're thinking about your ex, and by the way, I need to just quickly add this as well. Sorry for digressing, but I believe that if you work in a restaurant, you need to have tasted the food. I like to use that saying because I have tasted the food. You know, I do this job because I went through a terrible breakup of my own. In fact, I had many life experiences which led me to this job in 2018. So when I say I know what you're feeling, I legitimately know what you're feeling. And the anxiety of an ex not talking to us, or the anxiety of believing an ex is with someone else, it can drive you absolutely crazy. And one of the things that I felt firsthand, and a lot of my clients, you know, have told me the same, is that you get a feeling of adrenaline. You know, a feeling that you want to do something, but you can't do anything. So my somewhat generalized advice, tip, you could say, for trying to stop thinking about her and her getting with someone else, is to exercise when you're feeling these thoughts and feelings. So whereas I don't believe one size fits all in most instances, I do think this is somewhat universal. If you're having an anxiety spike, then going on a walk is often the best thing you can do. I remember my own experiences of kind of doing this without even realizing. I was a pacer, so I would pace around the house. I remember one particular day I clocked up 20,000 steps. I never left my house. I didn't leave my house that day. I didn't go on a run or a walk. That was just me pacing around with anxiety. So burning it off is the best way, but also making sure you get some sunlight. Now, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, we are nearly into winter. I mean, you might feel it's winter right now, whether you call it winter yet or whether you say it starts on the 21st, whatever. You know, it's very dark most of the time in the Northern Hemisphere, and hence it's incredibly important to get some natural sunlight. So my tip would be not just go on a walk, but make sure you go on a walk in the sunlight, making sure you feel it, and really kind of get that I know it's cold in the Northern Hemisphere, but get that warmth, get that glow, because it will really lift your mood. SF has said, that's fair, appreciate that. Yeah, I think I just got some closure. Definitely never going to talk again, or I may just give me space. The blocking leaves you in a state of limbo. It's awful. Absolutely. I'm doing 3 daily exercise routines now, as my anxiety is massive at the minute. Absolutely, again. So I hope what I've said may have helped there. Desop, I'll say Desop. Desop has said, getting your ex back is not worth it. If she did not choose you, don't change or chase her. SF has said, I hear you. Just felt very different about her than anyone else. So listen, everybody. I've been doing this job since 2018. I feel I've pretty much seen it all. Seen it, heard it, got the t-shirt, you could say, myself as well. You should not be chasing an ex. That is without doubt. Do not chase an ex. However, I'm not someone who's black and white on the issue of, okay, they dumped me, that means I should never be with them again. Because I have heard some very fantastic happy ever after stories of exes reconnecting. So I'm telling you from the experience, of speaking to hundreds of different people a year for the course of 7 years pretty much now. I've seen positive outcomes in both ways. I've seen positive outcomes of people getting their ex back. I've seen positive outcomes of people finding someone even better. So, should you chase an ex? No. But should you definitively write that relationship off forever because they've ended it? I mean, no, I don't think you should. Because there could be many ways as to why it happened. Let's say, for instance, you cheated on them and then they dumped you. can you blame them for for dumping you? I mean, again, it's not one size fits all. And if you are in a position where you are basically saying, I'm only going to focus on one goal, then you're limiting yourself. Why not focus on moving forward to potentially meet new people, but leave the door open? And if your ex comes back, you have the option. I don't think it has to be binary. VMI footballer said, can you expand on how to best initiate no contact? In my case, I went through 2 3-month periods of it before reaching out myself. The first time was met positively but provided temporary results. So this is where people are going to differ and people are going to argue, and you see it online, and I'm just going to say it straight out, my position. I believe in the vast majority of instances, if you are a dumpee, you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. Very, very, very occasionally would I advise otherwise. Now, the caveat to that is if you are in limited contact, meaning if you work together, if you have children together, if you live next door together, those things and more might create a limited contact situation where you do sometimes need to make contact. But for most of you, you will not be in that position. And hence, what we need to think of instead is maintaining no contact. So, and again, I'm trying to be careful and somewhat generalized because I'm not speaking to anyone specifically here. I don't know your specifics, but most dumpees, in my opinion, should never contact their ex for dumper again unless their ex contacts them first. So no 30-day no contact rule, no 90-day, no this, no that, no the other. If you have been dumped, and unless you fit into an incredibly small band of people, I do not believe you should contact your dumper for any reason, except for if you need limited contact, as said, for any reason, unless they contact you first. SF has said, I'm not going to chase her, but I feel if she gets with someone else, I couldn't go back to her. That's when my internal clock watching is kicking in. Every day brings a higher chance that she will. Now, when you say getting with, do you mean kind of going on a one-off date, or do you mean getting into a relationship? VMI said the second attempt was met with resentment. I ended that attempt with a final apology, no begging or pleading, but she didn't respond, and I just quietly withdrew and never initiated contact again. It's been nearly 1 year since that last message I sent. Was this the best thing I could do? Absolutely. In regards to, I do not think you should ever be contacting her again unless she contacts you first. Do I think you should have made the second attempt? No, I wouldn't have advised that. Because the second attempt is, again, unless there is a specific, unique reason, unfortunately it's been met with resentment. But the situation you're in now is the best situation you could find. She does not deserve you to reach out to her again. SF has said, it's helping speaking with you all. Thanks for sharing this, and I feel your pain, VMI. Same thing for me, but I haven't spoken to her at all. It's been a month so far. A month can feel like forever. A month can honestly feel like it has been eternity when you first hit that milestone. SF has said, sorry you went through that, VMI. There's a lot of conflicting advice online on no contact, especially with fearful avoidance. This is why, again, I'm careful of... I don't want to throw advice around willy-nilly, because unless I'm speaking to someone through audio coaching where, we speak for a solid hour, one-on-one on a call. And, I've had some clients for more than a year where we speak once a week for a year, so it doesn't just have to be one call. The point being is, between us, we will figure out the best situation that you can be striving for. You will be telling me exactly what is happening, the specifics, the unique circumstances, and I will lay down to you, from everything I've seen, the patterns, the likelihoods, what is more likely to work, what is more likely to fail, why this is more likely, why is that less likely. That's the benefit of me doing this for more than 7 years now, is, as I've said, I think I've pretty much seen it all. I've heard the most crazy stories. I've heard the most wonderful reconnections. I've heard scenarios where people who told me they only want their ex back are now so happy with someone new. I feel that I'm in a good position to try and support people. VMI has said, in my experience with these things, it will often take much longer than a month of no contact before she will really feel your loss. Often so long that you may not even want her back once she does. From my research, it's on average 6 to 12 months. That's the average. I've got videos, podcasts, interview podcasts on my channel where I've spoke to people who were happy for me to record our conversation, and they're literally describing how their ex reached out after, I think one was like 15 months, 17 months or something. I've heard people tell me where exes have reached out after 5 years. Now, you certainly shouldn't be waiting around that long, but you never know what is going to happen. Grumpy has said, she also suggested to meet with my mum for a cup of coffee. She doesn't want to talk to me, but wants to have a coffee with my mum. What is this kind of behaviour while in a rebound? So again, it goes back to the same point. She either has a relationship with your mum where she is wanting to make sure it doesn't get lost, despite the fact she is no longer with you, her son, or more than likely, she was triggered by seeing you in the photo with another girl, and she is now trying to find a way to gain information about you. And having a coffee with your mum could be the perfect way to casually slip in, oh, and how's Grumpy Dog doing? That type of thing. It could easily be the reason. I mean, and as for her being in a rebound, meaning she won't think of you or whatnot, I always remember I had a client who told me that on one particular New Year's Eve, he received not just a missed call from his ex, who, by the way, was living with someone else at the time, but she left a voicemail, okay, saying her thoughts and feelings. So, again, it doesn't... I'm open-minded to all of this because I've heard it all. SF has said 6 to 12 months she'll have 100% been with other guys intimately, so it wouldn't work for me. Sounds like I've got no hope then. Whoa, let's slow down the note. Right, this is a positive place, SF. We're not being negative, okay? Let's lift you up here. For a start, there is no guarantee she will be intimate with guys within the next 4 or 5 months. That is not an official guaranteed fact. Possible, yes. Guaranteed, no. Okay? So, let's try and bring it back. Like, you are, SF, what I refer to as a stage 1 dumpy. Okay? And you are going through the grind. You're going to hell and back. But you will get through this one step at a time. One day at a time. And I hope my channel can help you through to the other side, because you will get through it. The timing really sucks. I'd just been made redundant. We don't have family in this country to spend Christmas together, etc. And just blocked and vanished. Needed to hear that. Thanks, but that's my pleasure. Do you mind me asking what country you're in? I just been made redundant. So are you still redundant? Because your breakup was a month ago. I mean, I know it's not much time to found something new, but I mean, are you? And we don't have family in this country. So where you live right now is not your home country, I'm gathering. I'm just trying to get a little bit of a context of this. I'm still redundant by the end of this month. I mean, it's not surprising. Obviously, it's only been a month and you need to stay positive and focused. But the loneliness side of it can be really, really difficult as well. Her family is in Finland. Mine are in Spain. And we both live in Scotland. Okay, so you live in Scotland, but you're Spanish. Is that right? You speak great English, by the way. So Christmas is just me and her. Okay, so my channel will get you through this. You know, nobody's going to be feeling lonely if they're part of this channel community. That's the point. I have a very small circle of friends too. So not much support group. SF, you're now part of a community, okay? You know, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. You know, I upload podcasts regularly. I'm going to be trying to get more live streams in. Haha, sorry, no. My family moved to Spain. I have no family here. Her family is all in Finland. Okay, so you're Scottish. Okay. I think that's what you're saying. It would explain... Subscribing now, thank you. It would explain why you are so good at English. What you've got to try and do is take a breath, okay? Your mind is playing tricks on you. Scottish indeed. I've got to ask you, SF, and I could be wrong, maybe you're not interested, but I'm going to ask anyway. What do you think your chances are in the World Cup? I've got to get that in. Scotland haven't been in the World Cup since 1998. I have to ask. Maybe you're not into football, but if you are, I just needed to ask that. Karoma. Hi, Karoma. My ex is the one as per silent all efforts to reconnect but still dumped me, so I later matched her energy by going silent as well. After many months she connected my mother, saying I have avoided my child and her. Okay, so you have a child with her. That's what I'm taking from this as well. So there's a lot to break down on this. So how long was your relationship? And when did the breakup take place, Karoma? SF said low, honestly. Well, SF, you know, as an Englishman, I'm going to have to agree with you and say that I think your chances are low. You've got to have a banter. And look, here's the thing. Going through a breakup, we get so focused on the breakup. We don't want to have fun anymore. We don't want to have a laugh. It's almost like we don't want to think about anything else, but you need to. So talking about the World Cup, you know, it's fine. Some people almost feel like they're doing their ex a disservice by thinking of something else briefly. You know, give your brain a rest. Think about football, think about sports, think about music, think about whatever. Give your brain some time off. It's not helping you. It's just trying to feed you negativity. That's not right. Asafa said, that answers my question on where you're based. Yeah. I'm sorry, mate, but yeah. It's an English-Scottish situation we've got going on here. I don't. Did you say how old you are? I can't remember whether you did or you didn't. You might be too young to remember, but for me, growing up, Gaza scoring past you lot in Euro '96 was a particular highlight? I hope you don't mind me saying. You're 29. Okay, so you perhaps were a bit young for that. Oh my gosh, wow, you really was. I've just realised how long ago that was. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're too young for that. But yeah, when Gaza scored in Euro 96, that was a particular highlight. So SF has said, yeah, I just work out and have started self-employed work. So I'm working 7 days as my alone time is really grim. Well, wait, let's slow down. A moment ago you said you were redundant still, which I understand what you mean there. But from what you've said, you've now started self-employed work. So congratulations on that. That's incredible. You know, a lot of people are out of work for months and months and months. You've been out of work for only a short period of time and you've already set yourself up self-employed. Congratulations. Okay? Let's keep it up. Everybody in here who hasn't yet subscribed, please do, because if you don't, YouTube won't show you the uploads. And you know, I do try to upload regularly, so please do. You know, let's try and build this community. I'm sick to death of negative breakup communities, all doom and gloom. No, we can raise the standards here. SF has said my redundancy happens at the end of this month. I'm doing self-employed stuff now just to stay as busy as I physically can. I get that, so it becomes at the end of the year. I'm so sorry that it's happened. Now, I don't know whether this self-employed stuff you can continue into January, but if you can, that will obviously be great for you. SF said thanks, that means a lot, mate. Well, look, it's absolutely fine. It's what I try to do as a life coach. Lifting people. You know, we are going to make 2026 the best year of our life. By hook or by crook. That's what's going to happen. End of year, lose the job. So working there 5 days a week and doing nights, weekends, self-employed. Amazing. Your work ethic. That's the type of work ethic that's going to get you through. You can do this. I believe in you. Gonna try keep yourself employed permanently into 2026. Absolutely. You know, it's a big step, you know, whatever you do. I mean, you know, you may have guessed I'm self-employed. Now, when I've said earlier, you know, I started doing this job in 2018, but for the first couple of years, I was doing it alongside video editing to just tell you exactly what I was doing as well. And it was only when I built my channel up and everything that I was able just to focus on this and helping and supporting people as a full-time life coach. But being self-employed, it's got pros and cons. One of the pros, which is also a con, I think, is you have to be motivated. You know, as you will get to know, if you don't do the work, you don't get paid. It's not like, for instance, you know, once upon a time I used to work in a shop. Now, as long as I did the bare minimum in the shop, I would still get paid. You know, as long as I didn't do too little to get sacked, I would still get paid. But if I worked, you know, 100%, I would still get paid the same again. Whereas as a self-employed person, you generally get out what you put in. So you gain a self-motivation, which I think when you're going through a breakup can be particularly helpful, because you're going to need this. You know, that motivation. I can try and motivate you in my podcast, my live streams, the audio coaching, if you want to give it a try. But there's going to be moments where you have to find the self-motivation to really kick on. Karoma, are you still in the chat? I was really interested in finding out more information about what's happened with you. SF has said the 9 to 5 isn't working for me with where my head's at also. Work distracts me then. As soon as I'm home, it's straight to my thoughts, even with exercising and things. It's really, really difficult. I mean, I've got over it. I'm guessing you're new to my channel. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing you're new. I've got over 1,000 podcasts on here, which date all of the way back. So if you ever feel that you want to just try and, hear different thoughts and perspectives and whatnot, just get my channel on and, you will never run out. There's 1,000 of them. Well, more than 1,000. New to the channel, yeah. Do you mind me asking how you found the channel? So I'm always curious when new people find it. Because I've got like 17,000 subs or whatever. I'm very appreciative, but I'm not one of the, I haven't got 1 million subs or whatever. So I always think that my content probably gets lost, within these kind of million sub channels. I'm really curious how people come across me, to be honest. SF said, assuming my algorithm picked up on all the recent searches. Yes. Yeah, probably just started to kind of flood you with options. I'm just happy that I was put forward, and I'm happy that you found it helpful. Been searching lots about breakups and anxious attachment and fearful avoidance, and you got suggested. That's interesting. That's really interesting, right? Because when I do specific videos on like attachment styles, I generally get really poor views, which makes me think people might not be as wanting that. But I always get good feedback, so I don't really know. I mean, there must be demand for it. I am Batman. We spoke a little while ago, didn't we? Hey Vincent, I sent you an email to try to schedule a call on Monday if you are available. What, have you just sent me one now, Batman? So I was going to say, I didn't notice it earlier. I've been doing this stream for over an hour now, so if you've sent it during the stream, that's why I haven't noticed it. But let me just try and... Oh, just now. Okay, cool. I was worried I was worried that it hadn't come through. Yes, I will definitely get back to you on that as soon as the stream's ended. Let me just very, very quickly... Monday. Depending on when you're available, I might have availability on Monday. But we can talk about that on email. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get that in. But I will reply to you, Batman. Great to hear from you again, though, by the way. Obviously, we haven't... Time flies, doesn't it? It really does fly. Is it really like... Probably 6-7 weeks? Maybe already since we spoke? SF has said, the poor views is likely because the internet is flooded with mixed advice videos on these topics, mate. Nothing to do with your content's importance. Well, thank you for saying that. It's crazy, you never know how the channels are going to go. My content, I personally believe my content gets better as I get more experienced. But I peaked in views a little while ago, and it's since been, 2025 has not been my best for views. However, I believe in the content and I get great feedback. It's just, I guess, but there's a lot of content out there and it all gets, there's arguably too much content for the people seeking it. Perhaps people are, maybe the bigger guys are pumping it with the advertising as well, who knows. But I'm grateful for all of the people who find my channel, absolutely. Batman has said, yeah, I've been going through some interesting stuff for sure, just getting over a really bad sickness. Oh gosh, I hope you get better soon. There's a lot of sickness around where I'm at as well. My case, I was talking about when federal. That's when it's why it's been a while. I had strict deadlines. They escalated. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. When I speak. Okay. So just for anybody wondering what we're going on about here, I spoke to Batman on an audio coaching call. We've only spoke once, I believe, on a course. Was it once? I believe it was once so far. About 7 or 8 weeks ago. It's a good thing I have more coverage. Gosh, wow, yes. But yeah, and what I was getting at was after that call, when I speak to somebody, especially if it's just for once, I always wonder, what's happened, because sometimes I speak to people a lot. I've mentioned earlier, I've had some clients for more than a year, speaking every week. Sometimes I speak to people just for once. So then you never know what happens. And I was really wondering, Batman, about how you've been getting on. So it's great to hear from you. It's a good thing I have more coverage and more protections. Now a judge must review on the case, even if I am dismissed. It's a civil matter. From everything you told me, it sounded like a farce. The whole thing sounded like, I mean, it's not a joke, not to you. It's disgusting. But I really hope that there is a fair resolution to all of this, because this isn't good. It's been a really great stream today. I wasn't sure how a Saturday would go. I was thinking, people might be busy. It might not be the best time, best day, or whatever. But I'm really, really glad that I got out here today, because we've had some really great conversation. Batman has said it's very one-sided, man, and another judge said I lost my job through no fault of my own. Through no fault of my own to get unemployment. From what you told me, it sounds. I mean, it sounded almost like a setup. It did not sound right to me. And I hope you get the justice that you deserve. Everybody else listening must be thinking, what? But, obviously we're not going to go in any more depth than this. But SF has said, sending you strength, Batman. Yeah. We won't go into the detail. He probably can't legally anyway, but there was a setup at his work which basically has resulted. Well, yeah, he's telling you, I got framed to lose my job. I mean, it's awful. And we spoke on an audio coaching call. I think it must have been 6-7 weeks ago now. Time really does fly. And I was wondering what happened. So it's great to have you in here in the stream. I was sick for 6 weeks. Wow. Are you actually feeling better now? And my phone broke. I think somebody's due some good luck. Yeah, everybody in this chat deserves some good luck. But I've got to say, I think Batman might be first in line. My parents got me a new one as a Christmas gift. Okay, that's something. SF said, sorry to hear that, mate. Wish you luck in your fight. See, this is the community spirit we're talking about. Trying to lift people up instead of pushing people down. Is there anybody else that's in the stream and hasn't said hi yet? This is your moment to do it. It's probably in the next 7 or 8 minutes I'll start winding this one down. So if you haven't said anything yet and you want to, please do. Batman said, the way my parents have defended me when they think I can't hear is truly noble, almost brought me to tears. It's always more special when you hear something positive about you and that person doesn't realise that you know. Let's look at this December as the end of a chapter. sadly a negative chapter for lots of people, but it brings us to the opening of a new chapter, a brand new chapter, January, which is known as a depressive month, but we can lift it. We can make it the best month. Like, why not? We can do this, and we will do this, and we're going to do this. SF has said, appreciate it's late and you'll be winding down, Vincent, but just wanted to say thank you for the time and advice today. Helps just to vent, and I certainly did appreciate what you do. Thank you, SF. That is the point, really, just to give a place for people to vent and release their emotion. And if you or if anybody else in here is interested in audio coaching, send me an email. As I've said, Batman sent me an email, it sounds like, for me to look at about arranging another call. But anybody who's not done it before, hopefully that gives you confidence that it could be helpful. Hence, Batman, considering having another one. So I'm hoping that could be evidence, so to speak, that it can be helpful. But yeah, send me an email, vincent@dateme.tips. And please check your spam and junk. I will get back to you in less than 24 hours, often very quickly. And hence, if you haven't seen anything, check for spam and junk. Okay, everybody, I think it's probably a good point to wind this one down. Thank you, everybody, for joining me in today's live stream. Stay positive. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There will be a podcast uploaded tomorrow, which I don't always do on a Sunday, but there will be one tomorrow. So I hope that helps. And whatever you're going through, just remember that everything is temporary in regarding of the state something is in. So if you're feeling bad or sad or upset or lost, it's temporary, and the sun will always rise after darkness, okay? So stay positive and good night.